This is a 5-foot by 12-foot cold press by Tyler. We did refresh this press. What I mean by refreshed is the whole machine was cleaned, and we did touch up the paint. The reason why we touched up the paint is the front skirts always have a lot of glue on them, and when we remove that glue during the cleaning process, what ends up happening is a lot of the paint comes off and it will look worse after cleaning. So we did refresh the paint on this press as well. It does give you a 5-foot by 12-foot capacity. However, the actual depth is 61 inches. The actual width is going to be 150 inches, so it's going to be 12.5 feet. We did clean the lower rollers. Up top, we did a lot of work. This machine has been completely replumbed. We do use push-on fittings. This is what a push-on fitting looks like. It does not use a clamp. Essentially, you push your hose onto this fitting, and normally what we do is we'll spray Windex or lubricate this fitting to put it on. And the weave of this hose is that the higher the pressure, the harder it grabs on, and then you don't have the pressure from clamps. There's over 150 fittings in this machine and probably 150 feet of hosing that went into this machine. We did that because the push to connect tubing up top looked unreliable, meaning there's a lot of mismatched parts where people had patched it together. We also did replace all of your air gauges. We put a much larger Ashcroft gauge on because the controls are high and we wanted you to be able to see them. So we put these huge face Ashcrofts up top. We also replaced your intake air gauge, and we also put a water separator. Water is kind of the enemy of these machines. The water degrades the airbags. We also replaced all of your regulators, and all of the plumbing behind this panel has also been redone. I am stepping onto the back of the press. You can see how nice and clean my technicians did the install for all the tubing and piping behind the main control panel. Everything there is new. We did replate the top. There were some light dents, so we had those dents filled, reground, and then we replated the top plates. Again, we put a lot of work into this press. This is a manually adjustable machine. At one point, there was a hinge lock system, and it was changed over to a bolted system. So basically what you're gonna do is take a forklift, put it under here with some boards across, unbolt it, and drop it down to the height that you need. Currently it is open up to 60 inches. It does have full airbag coverage. And what I mean by that is if you look, the bags are basically touching left to right, front to back. There is a total of 60 bags on this machine. Right now it's holding 20 PSI. I'm not really gonna show you how it works because if I were to pressurize it like this, you stand either bending the frame or over stretching those airbags and putting a lot of pressure on your keeper springs. So what we have done is we have effectively lowered the press into the lowest position. You can tell because it is sitting on your lower bumpers here. We are pressing basically 2x material, so it is 1.5 inches thick. Obviously, we do not have 60 inches of lumber on hand, so we are choosing to lower it. Plus, this is a great position to ship this machine to keep the weight down low. We currently have it set at 50 PSI. The customer before us who owned the machine was running this machine at about 35 PSI. Again, this press is fully pneumatic. The controls are rather simple. Out or away from the press is going to be to fill the bags. It is going to send air forward into the bags and into the system. The center is going to be essentially off or neutral, which means there's going to be just air to the back of the regulator. And if you push in, it is going to release air through the Parker quick release valve. Again, center is neutral, and I'm going to pull away. That is going to refill. At this lowered height, you can see all the plumbing that we did. Again, over 150 fittings. And again, we removed all the push to connect, and this is a much more modern material that we're using. These are made in the USA. This tubing is made in the USA. It was made 3/7/26, so it's nice and fresh. These are a special barbed fitting that accept this hose. And again, the weave on the hose is designed so that as this tube expands, it's going to grab that barbed fitting even more. And what's really nice is you don't have hose clamps. The problem with hose clamps is they come and spin around on the edge of your hose, and as your tube expands and contracts over years, it actually starts to wear into those hoses, and that is a failure point. You do not see that with this. These are much more reliable than push to connect tubes, which we replaced. You can also see those Parker quick release valves from this position better. Those were all replaced. If you have any questions or comments, you could reach us at info@360degreemachinery.com or give us a call at 630-229-6705. Again, thank you for tuning in. It's 360 Degree, helping you buy with confidence.